Good morning, YouTube. I am Shaggy. I am Philalitea. My voice is still shot. It's just gonna have to heal through this because I'm not stopping using it. This is another episode of Philosophy for the Football Fan. Forgive me, I am going to smoke during these. They help me think. I am talking to myself, and I am going to be doing this without a script, off the dome. And it's only going to get more intense come Tuesday. Come Monday, I'm not going to hold on to all of Sunday and Monday and try to do that on Tuesday. And I'm only going to end up watching 4 games, and then we'll watch a game a day, and we'll discuss a game a day until next week, right? You understand the format? Okay, so today is Saturday. Last night was Friday. September 5th. Yep, okay. And forgive me while I'm on my phone until I've made the money necessary to get a laptop. It's just going to be uncomfortable. I'm going to have my hands in your face a lot. Okay, so last night was September 5th. We watched the Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And I'm going to hold my commentary on the Sao Paulo, Brazil, until the football game is over, and then I would like to do a whole section on Brazil, on the Sao Paulo presentation, on the stadium, etc., on the environment of the game. But I'm going to keep the format that I used for the Cowboys at the Eagles, and we're going to go position group we're going to do position groups. We're going to focus mostly on the offense. I'm going to talk about the coaches. I'm going to talk about what I saw, and we're going to begin with the losing team. So because the Chargers won 24-20, I think was the final score, something like that, within 4 points. I did watch the whole thing. I don't pay attention to the scores as closely as gamblers do because I'm not watching the over, the under. I don't actually care what the final score is. I care what the margin is, and the margin was 4 points. The margin was 4 points, and Herbert was able to scramble and slide, and they were able to take victory formation while the Chiefs had no timeouts remaining with 2 on the clock at the 2-minute warning. So I cut out at the 2-minute warning to explain to my audience that I'm sorry, but the chill Final Fantasy stream or the wind down, it doesn't make sense. It's 11:30 and I can barely keep my eyes open to write this message. So you guys will see me in the morning. I got to think about football anyway, and holding all of this in one's head is an act of intellectual work. And so I'm tangentially, philosophy for the football fans, I'm tangentially reading John Maynard Keynes, and he wrote a biography about Isaac Newton in which he remarked that Isaac Newton was able to hold a problem in his head not only for an hour, but for days and weeks and months. He was able to work on a problem, and he was able to hold these things in his head and work on them. And so what I'm doing with all of my videos is I'm showing you that I'm able to do the same thing. He called Isaac Newton an unparalleled genius. He called him one of the most intelligent, one of the smartest people to have ever lived. And so that's the benchmark from which I have set myself from my early teens. That's what I thought we were all trying to do in high school. My literary, intellectual, and spiritual heroes are very different than yours. And I see very different things when I watch football, when I watch these athletes. And so we begin with the Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs have a remarkably good roster for the utter lack of effort that you see from every position group besides the quarterback on offense. I don't know if that's a damnation of the wide receivers. I don't know if it's the fact that the wide receivers are who they are, but I saw only a handful of effort plays from the receivers and of the Kansas City Chiefs, and those effort plays only came after the second quarter was starting to slip away from them. They opened that with 2 consecutive drives that looked exactly like the Super Bowl. This looked like a team that has come out flat, that has come out expecting their opponent to roll over. And because I went and watched a game and I did a walk and talk, I missed the first drive. So I did miss the Chargers' first 7 points. But the Chiefs came out flat. They came out looking like they thought they were the superior opponent. And that's a risk you run. That's a risk you run if you're the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs and your head coach is Andy Reid and you have this dynasty of Super Bowl wins and you have Patrick Mahomes. Is you run into this situation where, like PAL South, when I was a kid, that stands for Police Athletic League of the South Side of Charlotte. So those were the kids that everybody was afraid of because we thought, well, we were taught to believe by the folklore, right, that these were the kids that were in juvie. When in reality, that PAL just had the ability to draft from a wider pool of kids, and a lot of them were bigger and more athletic, and so they were just able to field a bigger, faster team, and so they dominated the peewee of my youth. And it wasn't that they were better than us, it wasn't that they were better coached than us, it was that we were afraid of them, that we won a lot of games. And so Harbaugh has been coaching the Chargers to believe that Justin Herbert is just as good, if not better. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He deserves the same consideration as Patrick Mahomes. He's got the same skill set. He's bigger. He's faster. He doesn't have a massive leg injury. He's got some upper body injuries, but he doesn't have a massive leg injury. Coaching his team to believe that, but he's been coaching specifically his defense to believe that you just have to hold. You just have to hold. Just do it. Hold. This is a beatable team. And so my father, it wasn't with a team that I was on, it was with a team that my brother was on, or maybe it was a team that was between us. I think it was my brother. But he was coaching a younger team than mine, but he won the championship because he was able to coach his team to believe that PAL South was beatable. And that's what you had to do with the Patriots back today. You had to just coach the entire season to believe that the Patriots were beatable. Even if it means closing your eyes during an undefeated run. The Giants don't win that Super Bowl if they believe in their hearts that the Patriots are unbeatable, that you cannot defeat the Patriots, you cannot win. If you believe that, you can't do it. If you believe you can't do it, then you're going to act like you can't do it, and then you're not going to do it. And so the wide receivers are too good to drop as many balls as they did. It's week 1. Don't think about it. Andy Reid is always trying something new. The whole raison d'etre of that team is experimentation in the first 12 weeks of the season. I was saying it to myself the whole time I'm watching. But my assumption that the Chiefs and Eagles are going to repeat is not looking good right now. It's not looking good. Neither offense is looking fluid. The Andy Reid, by the nature of who Andy Reid is, forgets to run the ball. So Isaiah Pacheco had that one bad route, and then he got yoinked for Kareem Hunt. They run the ball a couple times for first downs with Kareem Hunt, then they throw it out of the backfield to Kareem Hunt, and then they forget that part of their offense for a while because they got to get rhythm. They got to get their receivers in rhythm. Everything can't be to Kelsey and Hunt. It can't be 2016. It just can't be. So the wide receivers, disappointing. Andy Reid's play calling is Andy Reid's play calling. He's going to run the ball 5 times. That's just how he is. He's going to throw the ball 45 times. He's going to run the ball 15 times. It's just how he is. It's just so you just gotta cope. You gotta cope, especially if you're Isaiah Pacheco and you know that you could do something in the run game against this team. Why are we in the shotgun? Why are we always in the shotgun? I get it. but you've also got to catch that ball. I know it was a bad throw from Mahomes, but you just got to catch it. You got to make something happen in the first quarter when everybody on the team is thinking, oh God, not again. And so they did eventually get a field goal, and then they had a master class in special teams getting that field goal off inside 7 seconds. That was a master class. But then Butker shanks an extra point and misses a field goal, and you're down. You lose by 4 points. And so it's real easy to blame Butker. And so Butker's got to bounce back. He's got to bounce back emotionally, and he's got to bounce back in his performance. He's got to stop missing. And then I forgot to talk about it. Because I don't actually know what I'm saying. But I was listening to the broadcast on Thursday night, and they were talking about how there are new kicker-only balls, new kicking balls. And I'm kind of excited about that because we've already seen one guy who doesn't have a great leg just blast a 58-yard field goal. And so if the goal here is to get longer field goals so that we get more kickers, more young kickers interested in the game from a young age, so that they're practicing and so they're really able to just nail these balls, we're going to see 70-yard attempts sooner rather than later. The 45 yards from the end zone isn't going to be that's not going to be daunting anymore. I think that's a 62-yard field goal. That's not going to be daunting for very long. And that's exciting because we want to see a game where we score on every drive. Everybody wants to see kickoffs. Nobody likes the punt game. I'm sorry, Pat, but nobody loves the punt game. And it's dangerous. So the goal here is plays that end in scores, so we can get this low incident kickoff implemented, and we can make the kicker a big part of the game, which sucks for punters. But the game has always kind of sucked for punters. And so that's the Chiefs. The Chiefs were just kind of a letdown. They just kind of got in their own way, and the effort level was just not good. Kelsey had that big score where his emotions were up, and Mahomes had that big score where his emotions were up, but the effort level was just not there from the wide receivers. The wide receivers just weren't open, and the effort level just wasn't there on contested balls. It just wasn't there. And so they got to do something about that. They got to do something about that. They got to do something about Smith-Schuster not knowing what to do when his quarterback scrambles, and they got to get Worthy up to speed fast. And then I just don't know what was going on with the right side of their offense. Every time that Mahomes got in trouble, he's looking to the left side of his offense, and there's just nobody there, nobody open, or they're going to drop the ball. So that was them. The Chargers looked like the Chargers from last year. They're huge. They're massive. They build great throwing lanes. They road grade in the run game. But Herbert's not there intellectually yet. He's just not there. He makes such weird choices. And they don't have any talent. They don't have any talent at wideout. They don't have any talent. Nobody jumps up off the screen. So 24 points against that defense with the way the Chiefs offense was playing is a letdown. They left about 15 points on the board. So that's a bummer, but they got it done. And so what we want as football fans is we want a competitive league, so we want to see the Chargers get it done. We want to see them get over the little brother syndrome that they've got with the Chiefs, and we want to see them be competitive. So they were competitive in Sao Paulo. They looked good. Nothing about either offense or defense was spectacular. There was that. I think there was a turnover. I think there was an interception, but I also remember there being an interception called back. Herbert still takes wildly unnecessary shots. He took a huge sack in this game where the defender could have absolutely crushed him, and then did the proper thing where he got him off his balance to where he was going to the ground and had to protect the ball, and then rolled his weight away so that they landed side by side, and the momentum was given to the ground rather than to one another's bodies. I saw a lot of really good tackles, a lot of really good hip tackles, especially from the Chiefs, throwing their weight into the center mass of the defender instead of throwing their hip, rather, into the center mass, rather than rolling the opponent over the hip like a judo tackle. I saw more cross-body checks. I like that. It's significantly less dangerous for both men. Significantly less dangerous. They land apart, most importantly. There were some injuries. There were some people pulled off the field, but I didn't have the sound on. I was just watching. I like to watch with the sound off. If I can see the game, I like to watch with the sound off. I don't always. Like, I like Collinsworth. I like to listen to Collinsworth talk, and I like to listen to Aikman talk. I like that broadcast. But otherwise, I do like to watch, if I can, and listen to something else to stimulate myself, to keep my eyes engaged in the game. But I also, because what will happen is I'll just listen to the broadcast and I'll let my eyes drift and I'll get bored. And then I'll go to sleep. So that does make shared stream, watch streams possible, which just means I need that laptop. Trying to think if there's anything else relevant that I noticed in the game. It was a good, clean game. There weren't nearly as many penalties. There wasn't nearly as much bad blood on display, especially from the champ, the conference champ. The Eagles showed a lot of inappropriate behavior. I saw two disciplined football teams. The Chargers have a huge offensive line. The defense didn't impress me. The Chiefs were in their own way. The Chiefs should have won that game. But what we're going to end up talking about for much of the day, as I move forward, once this goes live to you, you'll know that come to the lives, is prediction, retrodiction, and observation. Because I don't know if either of these games, either of the two games that we've watched, but I don't know if either game is predictive of either team's season. But for the Chiefs and the Eagles, they didn't come out looking like teams that are going to repeat in the same way, in the same manner. Their rosters are different stories from one another. So I don't know if these games are predictive. I really don't. But I know that as a Chiefs fan, I'm concerned that we're going to get more of last year. And this is a year where they could miss the playoffs if they play like last year. And I know that they lost like whatever 2 or 3 or 4 games or whatever it ended up being. But they played like ass. They lost on reputation alone. And so if they're going to start coin flipping those reputation alone games, they're going to win 9 games. And we're going to be talking about, you got to get rid of all these wide receivers and start over with Xavier Worthy. Or whichever. I think he was the rookie this season. I don't know. I check out in the off season. And then I learn their stories oftentimes 2-3 years later. It's hard for me to narrate and hold on to all that stuff. Because I'm watching for different reasons. And so what I saw was a team that's still very much intimidated by their opponent in the Chargers, and a Chiefs team that just cannot get out of their own way. Is it arrogance? Is it a lack of preparation? Is it the temperaments of their wide receivers that all of them were number ones elsewhere? I don't know. We're going to find out because the season continues. Thank you for being here. I am Shaggy. I am Philalitea. This channel has yet to have a sponsor, so if you want to sponsor this, you want to have your name associated at this end part where I say, or if I ever get around to editing these someday, unlikely that's going to happen, volunteer and I'll send it to you and you can edit it. And you can put your name in it in great big letters wherever the hell you feel like, as often as you feel like, and you can even make fun of me in the subtitles if you want, so long as you're actually producing it, and I'm drawing an income off of that. But until then, this is a labor of love because I love the game of football, and I know that there are teaching moments all over the field, all over the field at any moment, and ultimately I would like to do a watch stream. So thank you for this. I'll see you on Monday.